This
area of,
conference will now be recorded.
thank you.
Mm.
I was saying, although sales and shipping is not your main area of interest, but the purpose of creating this dashboard with you is to understand how we are going to link information from various places and bring it to one dashboard.
Mm.
Okay, so that's the
Okay.
main idea behind doing this dashboard. Let's begin with, I will introduce you to the data. The data that we have is sales and shipping data for 3 different years in this folder. This is data for 2019, 2020, and 2021. These data files are 3 separate data files. And this is a normal practice that rather than putting everything in just in one file, you will create a separate file for each year. So this is the data file. These are all CSV files. CSV, I don't know, we talked about this before or not. Did we? What is a CSV file?
No, we
Uh,
didn't.
okay, CSV, I will open a Word document and I'll try to explain what a CSV is. Uh, CSV stands for comma separated values. Okay. This is a database management system, and the values in the database are written as regular text, just separated by commas. And that when once it is loaded in the database reads it as a data table. So
Mm.
that's the idea of a CSV file. Let's hope my Word document opens quickly and I will explain. Meanwhile, our okay, normally, if you download data from ERP, that data comes many times as a CSV file data, or you may get a lot of jumbled kind of write-ups and text that you fail to understand what this is about. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm going to write a CSV data structure for you, and that would be, I hopefully explained how a CSV data structure works. I want to create a database for names and date of birth. Okay, and first our data columns. First column should be first name. My Word is ready to receive. First name, comma, then middle name, comma, family name, comma, and DOB, date of birth. Now I'm going to start writing the names. We can put space here. Okay. Now I'm going to write Muhammad comma Ali comma space is Al Ahtani comma, and the date of birth is for this person is January 01, 1980. Okay, next name Peter Michael Drucker, whatever. And date of birth for this person as September 15, 1960. These are if you when you download data from your database, it will look like this. And this on first look seems strange kind of information, but this when this file is loaded into a database, the database will consider first row as the column headers, and the second row is one data set. The third row is another data set. So this is the first data set. This is the second data set, and you will continue like that. There are four components of this data: one, two, three, and four. The first component from the header and from each data unit will be considered as column one. The second component will be considered as column two. The third component is column three and column four, and like that. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the comma separated value structure. Databases are more often than not structured like comma separated values. Okay, so
Comma
the data that,
separated value structure.
yes, comma separated value structure. And uh, the files that we have now, if we open them in Excel, let's open one file in Excel. And this file, because I saved them in Excel, although they're comma separated values, but you see this file looks just like an ordinary Excel file. There's no difference here if you open this file in Excel. But
Mm.
if I save this file as an Excel
Yeah.
file,
Yeah.
there is a very good example. Every month, most companies, when they prepare their salaries, and they load that salary file in the banking system and in their bank salary processing system, then the bank transfers that amount of money to each employee's account, right? That
Right.
file is
Right.
generally prepared in Excel, but when you save
Yeah.
that file, you have to save it as you have to save it as a CSV file, and Excel will convert that file into a CSV file so that it can be processed by the banking system. Bank system will not process an Excel file, but that will process a CSV file.
Yes.
Okay, but normally when you open this file, this will look like just like a normal Excel file. Okay, so let's while we have opened this file, let's explore what are the contents of this file. We have an order ID. This is our column one. Then we have a buyer ID. Then we have sales manager name,
Mm.
who was the sales manager for this transaction. Then
Mm.
order date, at what date the order was placed.
It's
Then we have,
more the from first glance, this type of file looks like a commercial file, right?
yes, it is.
Quite similar. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this
And
is,
also as you
yeah,
speak and explain to me, Mr. Sajjad,
yes.
I have also a situation now. I have a situation
Uh-huh.
where I have also three separated data files. They
Very good.
are extracted from the commercial function. Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I want to use these files. So imagine these files you have, for example. I want to
Very good.
use these commercial files as a
Uh-huh.
building block to build a consolidated people file because they don't have
Very good.
database. So the
Okay.
only source of information I found was the commercial. So now I have
Okay.
three different commercial files.
Okay.
I'm trying to build a template of data points that is relevant for people from that
Okay.
file. And then I
Okay.
want to consolidate them in one file. And I want to
Uh-huh.
start generating dashboards and structure from there gradually. Is that
Very good.
possible?
Yes, today you will see from these files that we are looking at, you will see what we are going to achieve through this. We are going to achieve a similar feature
Okay,
through these files. Okay. Uh, if you
inshallah.
like, if you like, if you have kind of your files, for example, look, this is a file. If I select this first 10 characters, this first 10 lines, and copy and paste and send it to me from all these 3 files, maybe I will be able to see some common points. I will be able to
Yeah,
advise
I'll
you
send it to you.
how to. Not all files. I don't need to look at your entire data, but this will be a useful exercise that I have a
Okay,
view of what you have. I have a view of what you have, and then I can advise you better. Okay. All right.
perfect.
So this is your,
Okay,
this is what I was trying to explain. The files we have order date, and here we have the order priority. What is the priority of this order? Then we have the product ID. We don't have a product name, but we have the product ID. And then we have order quantity.
mm,
We have unit price. We have discount. Each client, what kind of discount this client is getting. Then we have the shipping cost. Then shipping
mm,
mode and shipping container. And the last column here is the shipping date. Okay. Now, uh, you will notice that this particular database, uh, even this unit price column is a redundant column. Why I call it redundant? Because uh, let's assume you are selling this product, PID 947. Now there'll be many PID 947 orders in this order list.
mm,
Okay. Each time when you have the price, you are putting this extra value in your database. You don't need this value. Then
mm,
you have uh,
mm,
a buyer ID somewhere. Here is the buyer ID. You don't have a buyer name
mm,
or buyer address or any other buyer's data in this database. But in our dashboard that we are going to prepare, in our dashboard, we have a chart that we will prepare the sale for each state of the US. How much sale we went to any state of the country.
mm.
Now we don't have this kind of information in our database, the data that we are looking at. We only have a buyer ID. We have
Mm.
to have in some other place the data which can relate this buyer ID and can give the detailed address of that buyer, in which state the buyer is located, in which city
Mm.
the buyer is located. So this kind of information we have to have in some other place. Okay. And we have to create a system and
Mm.
structure that can link both of them together, so that when we are creating that pivot table to feed that chart, that pivot table can pull data from both places.
Nice.
Understand that what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So
understood.
this, okay, this unit price data also, uh, what I would prefer, and while I'm doing this, I'm thinking next time I will remove this unit price also from here, because what we need, what we can do, we can create from this product ID link, we can create a separate table that will give us the unit price of each product, and then
Yeah.
we can pull that information from there. Why it is done? Because if you keep your this is called a fact table in database
Mm.
management language. The main information that we are using for preparation of any dashboard or any report is called a fact table. This fact table should
Mm.
should be a lean and clean fact table, and we call it in database management language a normalized fact table. Normalized fact table means that it should not have
Normalized
a
fact table.
fact
Yeah.
fact table. A normalized fact table, definition for a normalized fact table would be that it should be a lean and clean table without any
Mm.
repetition of redundant information. Now,
Yes.
now
Lean and
as many
clean
times, yes,
fact table, huh?
yes. Now this
Mm.
PID 947,
Okay.
this product would be
Mm-hmm.
available,
Mm-hmm.
would be coming into this orders many times, and each time this
Mm.
information comes into view, this unit price will also come into view. Now this is not a good practice to have this kind of information here, because how many rows of data we have? We have 2154 rows of this data.
Okay.
Okay, now these rows,
Yeah.
I'm just assuming for the time being that in this data this PID 947 appears 100 times.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Now I can have, instead of this 100 lines or this
Mm.
repetition of the unit price of PID 947 100 times, what I can do is I can create another table. Let me do this. For example, I will do
Yeah.
with these two products only, PID 947 and 937. Okay, PID 947 and PID 936, whatever the number. Now, if I create
Mm.
a table and this is price, let's say for the sake of example, this price is 130 and this price for this product is 125.
Mm.
Okay. Now this table, if we are working with these two products, I can create a system that I can remove this unit price from this the column, the entire column, and
Mm.
I can create a link every time this 947 appears here. It should go to this table and pick the price from here.
That's genius.
So this is what we are trying to create. A fact table should have
Mm.
a, any information which you cannot pull out from anywhere else. Like you cannot pull
Mm.
out an order ID from anywhere else. Order
Mm.
ID is unique to this order,
Mm.
right? Buyer ID,
Yeah.
you cannot pull out from anywhere else. This is unique to this order. Sales manager is unique to this order. Order date,
Yes.
order priority, order ID, all these things are an order quantity. All these things are unique to this order. This unit price is not. Okay, so this does not belong here. It should not be here. Although it will work and we will work through
Yes.
in this exercise, we are going to work through this, but this does not belong here. Then discount, yes, each time you make a deal, you may be giving a different discount to this customer or in that order. So this discount is a unique element of this data. And the shipping cost and the uh, uh, shipping cost sometimes is standardized, but normally it is different. So that can be here. Then shipping mode and shipping containers and shipping date. Except for this unit price, all other items in this database are unique to each order.
Mm.
Understand? So this
Understood.
this this can be removed, and if there is a process called normalization of your fact tables. So maybe that I would advise you to do for your data, to normalize your fact table. And that kind of normalization means that you have to remove this kind of redundant information and place it in a separate table. And that is the process of
Remove
normalization. Remove the redundant
remove redundant
information.
info and do
Information.
what?
Do what?
Yeah.
Place it in a separate table.
This only
Uh,
if you still need the information, you mean? Or because
yes, if you
redundancy,
need,
it means you don't need it anymore.
Yes. No, there are two levels of redundancy. One level of redundancy is that it is shit is redundant for this table, but not redundant for your purpose, right? And the second level is that it is redundant for the entire what you call exercise. And we will do something that will explain this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this entire database into another sheet. And the process to do that, I'm holding control, and now
Okay.
I'm pressing my I'm holding my mouse, and I'm creating another sheet. So by holding control
Yeah.
and
So
by pressing the mouse, what I did, I I removed, I created another sheet, the same. It's a copy of the sheet. Now what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to remove the redundant information. I'm removing all the columns before this product ID. Delete all the columns. Delete. And
your
uh, I'm removing order quantity also. Yes.
your Excel is freezed.
This
Your
is
your arrow is at the sheet bottom. Yeah, now it moved.
okay. There may be some time lag in the.
So
Yeah.
so normalized fact table is the already clean and lean fact table.
Yes.
Normalization of fact table is the process to clean it and make it lean by
Yes.
removing redundant information and place it in another table.
Yes. Now this is what I've done.
Okay.
I've made the copy of my main database. Okay, and this way I will also see maybe my database is not even that uh, lean and clean itself, because I just downloaded
Mm,
from an internet source. So maybe this is not
mm,
very reliable also. But what I am trying to
mm,
achieve now, I removed the all the columns before product ID, and the quantity also I removed. And now I'm removing all other columns. I'm just keeping product ID and unit price items. Okay. So if I remove all that, now I need to remove duplicates. Okay. And how do I remove duplicates? This is my, okay. I can create, I can use a function, and that function is unique. And this unique function, I'm going to select my data array. My entire data array is selected, and this should be able to get me the unique list of data. And this is a test of my data actually. You see what has happened?
mm,
These are 2,154 lines of data,
mm.
right?
Yeah.
From this, I have extracted now the unique data points. And we have only 986 unique values. Now,
Uh,
instead of,
y- Out of the 2000.
yes, now this also tells me that my data is not very good quality data, but it still proves the point that instead of having those 2,300 price values in my main table, if I link my, if I remove this unit price column from that table, and create this this small table. This is only two columns, product ID and unit price. Copy and here. So this will be the table I should be using as a lookup table. Every time this product comes into question, this PID 947, every time this comes into picture, my database system should be able to pull the value from here, unit price. Understand? So no need to create, no need to have this unit price in this database. But for the time being, we are going to keep it like this. We are not going to change it. But this was one point that I thought is very important in this whole exercise. So I wanted to explain this. I'm going to close this file, and we are going to
Thank you.
go back to
Okay.
our uh, exploration. In this, then with these three files, I have another set of lookup tables. This is another file. This is a lookup table, and there are 1, 2, 3, and 4 separate tables in this file, and these tables are actually giving you the product ID. This is the product ID table, and this company actually sells unique and different products. Total products this company has is about this 8 or 900 or 1000. Yes, 1284 different products. Okay, and these 1284 products are this is your buyer uh, list, but these are the categories of the products. These are toys or baby products or the what kind of products they are.
Okay.
Each product, each code is linked with the category of the product. Then you have the buyer's information. This is your buyer ID, and this buyer ID, there is a state name, state code, and this is the state name. So we have to find a way to link our main fact table with this lookup table. And you see, these are all the buyers that we have. And I just want to identify how many buyers we have. Only 796 customers. Okay. So the file that we opened, which is the that fact data file, that is that had about 2000 rows of data. Now, assuming that each year we have similar orders, we have 6,000 rows of data in this particular exercise, but total buyers are only about 796, 800 buyers almost, and these are their different states. So having this information will be repeated. If you put this information in this fact table, it will be repeated 6,000 times unnecessarily. Okay, so we have it in a separate fact table, not in the main table, but in a separate table. Then these two small tables, these are the priorities, order priority. The order priority is only 5 categories: critical, high, low, medium, and not specified. Okay, and if you have this kind of information, you write this order priority in your what this table we are going to use. We are going to use for the sorting purpose. You see, if Excel normally when we sort information in Excel, it will be sorted alphabetically.
Yeah.
So our in that case, critical will be the first one. Then the second one is high. Then alphabetically, it will not be as correct as 1, 2, 3. Critical should be 1. Then which one should be first, and this one, which one will be the second? This is even more easily understandable here. if you go for delivery truck, that is number 1. Then regular air is number 2, but alphabetically it goes at number 3.
Mm.
Correct? Now we have
Yeah.
put number 2 for regular air, and then express air is number 3. Okay, so we want to
Yeah.
sort our information in this order. So that these we are going to use as sort tables.
Mm.
Okay, now having introduced you to these this information, uh, what I want to emphasize, the last thing I want to emphasize is that this particular file, which we are going to use to create that database, to create this dashboard, has no data in it. There are
Mm.
no files. There are no data points. There is nothing in this file. This file has no data. This data is in a folder that I showed you, is sitting here in my computer, and this is sales and shipping dashboard. It's an old one. Why I but I will, let me copy it and bring it somewhere. But this, I think in the last class, last week, I was showing this to another class, and that's why it is sitting here.
Mm.
Anyways, uh, let me bring this folder in, or we can continue like this. No harm, no harm. Uh, Now, the first thing that we want to do is we want to bring, we want to create a link. We don't want to bring data in this file. We want to create a link with the data to this file, so that we can use data which is sitting where it is sitting. It will continue to sit there, but it will have a link, and this file will pull the data to create that pivot table for us. Okay, so the
Yeah.
process that I'm going to follow, I'm just going to add one sheet for no reason. We don't need this sheet here, but it doesn't look right to start working on the sheet where you are creating your dashboard. I'm going to go to my data tab. Let me bring my buttons bar. I go to data tab. The very first set of data here, this is called Power Query group. And this Excel calls it get and transform data.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to go to the first button here, and it says get data. If I click here on the drop down, it gives me all the possibilities. You can get
Yeah.
data from a file. You can get data from a file, and from file, it can get from a workbook, from a CSV file, from an XML file, from a JSON file, from a PDF file, or from a file folder.
Perfect.
So all these possibilities you can get data from. Then you can get data from these databases, SQL Server and Microsoft Access database, from analysis services, from SQL database, from Azure. You can get data from Azure. You can get data from Power Platform. You can get data from other sources. These are other sources, from the web,
Mm.
from OData, from any picture, and from table or ranges. From So these are all the possibilities you can get data from. I'm going to go with the first option, first selection, and I'm going to pull data from my folder. Okay. Now Power Query is going to ask me the location of this folder. It will take a little bit of time.
It's okay.
Now I have to now specify the location of that folder. Let me make sure that I go to the right one. Where was that? I messed up, I think. Okay, let's create a new place for this. Uh, Preparation.
How do you define unique data points? If you want to give it a description.
Anything that that uh, that will compromise the information quality of that line. Like,
Mm,
for example, the order quantity.
mm,
If I don't put the order quantity, my order information is not complete.
yeah,
Okay. Anything that uh, compromises the information quality of that data line.
anything that
Yes.
compromises the quality
Yes.
of data, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Is it like odd data?
Odd.
Yeah,
Uh, no.
it's not.
Let me.
It's not unified data
Yes, it's
points.
not unified. Yeah, it's not unified. Let me copy this, and I will open that file again, and we will talk about this in a minute. Okay. I brought this file here, and these are our data points. Let me cancel this for the time being, and we go back to this file. Okay. All right. Here, this data again. This is what I was trying to explain to you. Let's look at the first line. If we remove this order ID, then we cannot identify this order. We remove this buyer ID. We don't know from which customer we got this order. If we remove the sales manager name, we don't know who
Mm,
is selling this product.
mm,
And order date, all these things, order priority, product ID, order quantity, all these items are, if we remove any one of them, that
mm-hmm.
compromises the quality of this information, or quality of information of this particular uh, unit of data. One unit of
Understood.
data is one line.
Understood.
Understand? And
Yeah.
but this price, we can have this price somewhere else. So if we remove the price from this database, this does not compromise the quality of information. Discount and shipping mode, cost, all these things, uh, except for the unit price, all other items are essential items to identify the order. And I will add a word, completely identify the order without compromising the quality of information. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. So let's close this. And I'm going to go back to our Excel. And in this Excel, I will go to get data again, and from a folder, and I'm going to now go to the location of that folder from which I'm going to use the information for preparation of this database. And here is that database we are preparing. And this is the folder, data fair for bespoke DB5. Okay. This folder, I'm going to give this address, and when I say open, this file is going to pull the information from that source. Now this Power Query tells me that there are 3 files in that folder. Okay, and I cannot enlarge it. You have to come close to the screen to see what it is doing. It is telling me the file is name of the file. This is data 2019.csv, and this is extension is .csv, and the date created, on which date it was created, and the date modified, and the date original creation, and then it has several records, and
Yeah.
this is in this folder. This is sitting in this folder. There is
Yeah.
other information also. So this is the information about these files. Now I can, if I click on load, that will load this data to my file. But this is not what I want. I want to transform this data. I just want to create a linkage of this data to the file where I want to create my dashboard. So if I click on transform data, this opens Power Query. I think we did not do this Power Query before. Did we? Did we touch Power Query before? No.
This one? No.
Yeah, but I think we created a Power Query through table for merging
We
two
did.
tables, but
We
budget
did.
and budget and actual sales, actual sales data. We did this Power Query, so we are familiar with Power Query Basic. But this Power Query is little different start from the previous one, because it is
Yeah.
telling you again. It is just showing those 3 files, but we haven't got the data yet. Here is
Mm.
the if you look at the headings, the first one says content, the second one says name, then extension, then a date created and all. This is the files information. But the first one, this has these kind of arrows,
Mm.
you see, and when I hover over these arrows, it says combine files. When I click on this, it should combine the files and give me data,
Mm.
which is the data in this file, and it is telling me this is the kind of data I will get. This is the sample of this data. When I say OK, this Power Query has created a combined data set for me now.
Mm.
But interesting fact is that those 3 files remain in that folder as separate files. Okay,
Mm.
and this database that I can see on my screen now is actually just in the Excel process engine. This database does not exist. What I see on my screen now, this does not exist. It is an intermediary processed stage where this data is available for me to analyze and use in my reports in this shape.
Mm.
But actually, the data stays in those files in that shape where which we already have seen.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first lesson here. Number 2, Excel has a limit of 1.6 or 1.4 million rows of data. This Power Query has no limit.
Wow.
You can have 3 files, each file having 1.5 million data rows. This Power Query can still combine them, and the
Amazing.
combined data will be 4.5 million rows.
So the main power of Power Query is combining data.
Combining data and linking it from different sources and places.
So if you want to say you want to combine any files, even if it's
Yes,
basic, you
yes,
say Power Query.
Yes, that's the tool to go to. Now let's look at the what Power Query has created for us. Here on the left side, you see the list of queries. These are the list of processes Power Query has created for us. We don't need to really process this. On the right hand side here, this area, this shows all the information of all the steps that have been performed for us. It has pulled data from the source, then it has filtered the headings, then it has invoked the customer functions, then it has renamed the columns, and then removed the contents which were redundant contents. Uh, when
Mm.
when when certain uh, programs or softwares are working together, some redundant information comes in. So that redundant information is removed, and now finally you have the combined all the files. And now this database is called data for bespoke db5, which was the heading of my column, my which was the name of my table. I'm going to call it uh, sales data. This is the name of the query I want to use, sales data. This query is now called sales data. The first column of this data set is source name. Now, source name is only the name of the file. I don't need the name of the file for each record. This is the redundant column. So I can remove this column. So let's select this column and remove. This column is gone. Now we have already familiarized ourselves with the data. We have the order ID and buyer ID and sales manager and order date and sales priority and all those that information. So all this information is here. What we can do to make this data a little better is, this is the ABC. That means it's text data.
Bless you.
The second column is also text data. The third column is text data. The fourth column is date. Fifth column is again text. Then we have the text. What I actually want to do is this order quantity. This is numbers. This unit price. I want to convert this to currency. It says 1.2. That means decimal numbers. I want to convert it to currency. And this discount, I want to convert to percentages. Discount should be percentage, not a number like this. And this shipping cost also I want to convert to currency. And rest of the information is fine. So having done that, now I want to make this table ready for use in my file where I want to create my database. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this close and load, and I'm going to go to the second option, close and load to. When I click on this, I am going to click here which says only create connection. If I say table, that old data will come in my file, which I don't want. And as I said, if we have more data rows than Excel can handle, then that data will not fit in our Excel file. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to say only create connection, and at the bottom I'm going to check this add this data to data model. Doing these two connections, if I click OK, now Power Query is creating now that connection with this file. Are you there, Ahmed?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Okay. So this query is being created. You see
Okay.
on this side, you see the queries, and uh, finally, these are all the intermediate steps. But this is the sales data that is connected to this file. This has 6,437 rows, and this is the sample of this. Okay. And the source, you can hover your mouse here and it will show you the source. Where is this data sitting currently? But this data, uh, I will emphasize again, this data in the original file has not changed. They are still the same 3 separate files, and something like 2000 rows in each file, and they are in their position, no change there. Now the second thing I want to do in this query system, I want to go to uh, get data again, and this time I'm going to get data from a workbook.
Okay.
And I'm going to bring in the lookup tables. These lookup tables that I want to use for my uh, linking to the customer's information. In this file, Excel is telling me that these are the contents of this file. There is a buyer's table, there is a order priority table, there's a product ID table, and there's a shipping mode table. And then there is a sheet. Name of that sheet is lookup tables. What I want is, I want to bring in all these tables. If I click on one table, you will see this sample of this table. This is the buyer ID. Then order uh, priority. Then this is the uh, product ID table and shipping mode table. Now I want to, here it says select multiple items. I want to be able to select multiple items, and I want to select all these 4 tables together. Buyer ID table and the order priority table and order ID table and shipping mode table. And when I say transform data again, now we have all the queries that are now linked. This was our original sales data query. This is what we created before. Now these 4 extra tables have come in. Now we are going to link these tables with our file also. Now uh, I just want to change the names, because the names are the names of the table. So if I just uh, click on this, and if I call it, instead of buyers underscore TB, I will call it buyer info, just to differentiate from our main tables. Then order priority. Uh, this, you see, the name is, there's no gap between order priority because the table cannot have those gaps. And in Power Query and in name, we can have a gap. So I'll call it order priority, and then product ID. And this I will call product ID. I'm going to remove the word TBL and underscore, and I will create a space between product and ID. And finally, shipping mode. And this also, I'm removing this underscore and TBL, and shipping mode are 2 different names. Now I have 5 different tables. The sales data is our main fact table, and these are our lookup tables, and they're sometimes called dimension tables also in database language. Lookup tables or dimension tables.
What is dimension tables?
I will explain in a few minutes. I'm going to create a magic around this, so I'll show you. Okay, I'm going to go back to this create and close and load to. And again, I'm going to select only create connection and add to this file data model. And I say, okay, you will see some more queries created here. This is being processed. So now we have 5 queries attached to this file. This is your main data, sales data. Then this is the buyer info, then order priority and product ID and shipping mode. And finally, all the 5 tables are now linked. And we still don't have any information in this file. That's the important message that I want to drive home. Now, if I click on Home tab, you see there's a new tab here. It says Power Pivot. It was not there before. Now this has appeared because Excel has realized that there are some connections made this file, and we have added some data to the data model of this file. Now, if I click on Power Pivot, this is your Power Pivot mode. And if I go to Manage, now this will show you the data in the shape that Excel sees it. This is how Excel is processing this data. You have this sales data. You have this buyer's information. You have this order priority information. You have product ID information. You have shipping mode.
Mm.
Okay. Now, these are all the informations available as, like you can say, sometimes you say, if somebody tells you that this is available for you, if you need, ask for it. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
This is what Excel is telling us. This is all available for this file. If you need, ask for it. Okay.
Yes.
Now we can go back to Excel. Here is a small Excel icon. If I click on, oh no, I want to go back to Excel. If I just, I click on this, I'm back to Excel. And I can go back to Power Pivot. Here is my Excel. Here is my Power Pivot. And all my information is there. At the top here, at this end, I would like to show you uh, at this button. This button says diagram view.
Mm.
Okay. If I click on this diagram view, here are our tables. And this is our main sales data. This sales data has all these columns, right? This buyer's data has these 3 columns. Order priority has these 2 columns. Product ID has these 2 columns. And shipping mode has these columns. Now, I'm going to move them around a little bit, these tables. And I just pull them down to create some space for this table to come in the center. Okay. And now I'm going to put the buyer information here and product information here. This is my main information, and order priority and shipping mode I'm placing on this side.
It's blank. The Excel, it's still blank.
It will take a little while to, yeah, my screen, I think I can show, but as you know, there are
No.
steps. And my screen
Mm.
is relaying to PreparationInfo and they are relaying it to you. Something
Yeah.
like that is happening.
No,
What
it's
do you
okay.
see
As
now?
long as the recording, when
Yes,
I review it, it will be
yes,
smooth. It's fine.
yes, but it's fun creating this, what I'm doing. I want you to be
Yeah.
able to follow the, what do you see on the screen now?
Now I see boxes of buyer's info, product, the sales
Yes,
data, order priority, shipping mode.
yes. Now this is the diagram view of our data. Okay.
Mm.
And this
Mm.
diagram view, why we call it diagram view? Because we are now going to draw the connections,
Mm.
create connections. As I said, if you want to create a chart that says by state, this information is not available in our uh, sales data information.
Mm.
We don't have any state information. But in
Mm.
this main sales data, we have a buyer ID. And in
Yeah.
this buyer's information, we have the buyer ID and we have the state code and we have the state name also.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this buyer information with the sales data information. And the common connection is buyer's ID.
Mm.
In this, although the column heading is not the same, but in buyer's info, this buyer's tab, buyer column, the heading is the data in this column is the buyer IDs. So heading does not really make difference. The information makes the difference. If in this column, the information given is buyer ID, I can connect this tab, this column with the column in the sales data. And the process to do that is very simple. I'm going to hold down control. I'm going to click on buyer and hold it and drag it to buyer ID in sales data column, sales data table. And now I'm going to release it. And we have a connection created. You see the connection? Maybe it will take a few seconds to update on your screen.
Yeah, it's coming, not yet.
Okay. What you should see finally is the buyer and the buyer ID, both lines highlighted in both tables, and a line connecting both tables. Tell me when you see that.
Okay, boss.
Buyer ID highlighted, both
Not yet.
tables, in buyer info and in the sales data.
Not yet.
Taking long time. Still?
Not yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
uh,
It's traveling from Riyadh to
yes,
Preparation Info and coming back to Saudi.
yes. It should go direct from Khubar to Riyadh. That would be easier. Let me do a few
Okay,
more.
it's
So
okay. It
very good,
happened finally. Yeah. So now we
very good,
have
very good.
highlighting green the buyer ID, and
And
we
the
have
buyer ID,
yeah, and we
a
have a link
line
between
connecting.
yeah,
Yes. Now
yeah.
this link actually is telling you that both tables are now connected and information can filter through for the criteria given in this buyer's info table from sales data table. Understand? I repeat,
Yeah, no,
the
I don't
information,
understand.
the
Yeah.
information now, they are so connected that if you bring a criteria from this buyer's info table, which is
Mm-hmm.
the if you create a list of states from
Mm-hmm.
this buyer information table,
Mm-hmm.
because of this link that we have created, the sales information can filter through and can feed that table because
Okay.
of this connection.
Okay.
Understand?
Yes.
Now the second connection that we are going to create is this product ID in the second table, and I'm going to connect same process. Hold down control, press on the mouse, and then I'm going to drag it to the product ID column in the sales table, and I will release the mouse, and the second connection will be created. And now it will take its sweet time for your screen to update. And now you will see product ID in product ID table and product ID in sales table connected similar to the connection that we created in the buyer information. Now, if I want to create some pivot table from the category of sales, because of this connection, this information can filter through. Okay.
Yes.
Meanwhile, I will create the connection with the order priority, so that screen can update all at one time. So order priority in order priority table, and I'm going to connect it to order priority in the sales table, and shipping mode, I'm going to connect to shipping mode in the sales table. Where is the shipping mode? Here is the shipping mode. Now we will wait until all this is updated in your screen and you can see all the connections. I have created 4 connections now. And why I was calling these tables as dimension tables, like they are adding a new dimension to our database. This is the main data, the sales data table, and the other 4 tables that we have around it, they are adding a different dimension to our data. Okay, so these tables are called the lookup tables and or dimension tables. Lookup tables, people like me who originate from Excel mastery, they call them lookup tables. But people who come from SQL server base and those kind of database management systems, they will call them dimension tables. Okay. Tell me when you can see all the 4 connections.
Okay, now we have the product ID connection
Okay.
showing.
Okay.
Order priority, not yet.
Yeah, it will come quickly because I did it in quick succession, so this should come quickly.
So lookup table, it also means dimension table.
Yes. Now I am doing another process now. We have connected the buyer ID table, both tables. Okay. Now there is a possibility that I pick buyer ID from the sales table. Now, if I for creating my pivot table. Now, if I pick buyer ID from sales data table, I will not be able to filter this data for states, which is an element of a buyer's table. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this confusion, and I'm going to hide this buyer ID from the sales table. If I right click on this, it is giving me options. And what I am going to do is I'm going to say hide from client tools. And now this buyer ID, when your screen refreshes, this is grayed out. I cannot see in my database. I cannot use this now. Whenever I use a buyer ID, I will have to bring it from my buyer information table. Similarly, the product ID, I'm going to hide this product ID from the user, from client tools. This buyer ID in the sales table, hide from client tools. And order priority, I'm going to hide from client tools. And finally, the shipping mode, I'm going to hide from client tools. Now, when your screen refreshes, you should see all these 4 elements grayed out. Tell me when you see that, and then I will show you another view of my data. Meanwhile, there is a term which is what you call, they call schema, database schema. And the kind of structure that I've created, this is kind of called star schema. Star schema, yes. And this is
SC or SK?
SCHEMA.
SC?
HEMA.
Okay.
Okay, now,
SCH schema.
yes.
Okay.
Now the star schema,
SCHMA.
SCHEMA.
Okay.
Now this is the one, what I've done. I've placed the main fact table in the middle, and the lookup tables are surrounding it. I don't know
Mm,
why, but database management system experts, they call it star schema.
mm,
There can be, you can have multiple uh, methods of placement. Uh, Sometimes I've seen some professionals, they place the main table up and all the uh, this dependent tables or lookup tables at the bottom here,
yeah.
like
Now
this.
we have the connections happen.
The connections
And
will stay.
yeah,
Whatever shape I change, the connections will continue.
and
They can be
and
placed at the okay. Now
top
you
and
can
bottom.
see the, yeah. Now you can see the grayed out things. This
Yes.
buyer ID is grayed out and shipping order and
Order.
order party. Okay.
Yeah.
You can see now. I have put now. What I've done is I've put this sales data at the top and put all the uh, dependent tables at the bottom.
Yes.
Or you can place it on the side, and one main table on one side, and all the dependent tables on this other side, like this also.
Mm.
Tell me when you see a change on your screen.
I still see it in the bottom.
You see the bottom. Now I have changed it. I've changed it to the side now. So you can put any schema, but this is called the schema, database schema. I'm going to
Mm.
again bring it back to the original one, order priority and shipping mode on this side, and our main fact table in the middle. My preferred way of putting it.
Yeah.
So now what you see?
Not yet.
Okay. Tell me when you see the change on your screen.
Okay.
Back to the original. I don't know. Today it is taking more time to, maybe because of the Power Query, maybe
I
because
think
we
so.
are,
Yes. Because
yeah,
usually it takes time, but not as much as today.
yeah, it's Power Query maybe.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my computer is not lagging today. It is. The next I want to show you is uh, data view back. Tell me if you
Mm.
see change on your screen. Do you see the data view or still the same screen?
Yeah. Now it's in the center, and the dependent
Yes,
files are on the sides.
yes. Now I have changed it to the data view, and this data view, now we are back in the data view shape, and you can clearly see the columns that we hid from the client tools are now grayed out, and you cannot do anything with these columns. Tell me when you see the change on your screen. I'm going to go back to Excel very soon so that we stop this lag. I think in Excel there wasn't any lag, but this lag is in Power Query only. Tell me when you see the data view.
Still the same.
Same template.
Yeah.
Okay,
Same. Dependent files on the sides. Gray
okay,
items. The four gray items. That's the
yeah,
view now.
yeah, okay. Wait until you see the data model. No change still?
Not yet.
Oh, too much lag.
Your mouse is in my screen. It's still at the data view on the bar up to switch data view of the model.
Okay. Now it should be coming then. I'm not rushing through it because these are the important steps to
Yeah.
understand. Strange, it takes so long. On my end, this go to meetings is showing the screen that I'm showing, but maybe because my computer is relaying it, so that's why it is
Yeah.
showing the correct view.
Yeah. It's still mouse is still at data view tab in the top, and the four dependent files both sides
Mhm.
with the connection and the gray four items in the middle.
Okay.
What should go next now? How is it gonna look?
I showed you the original data model that I showed you before. We went to this diagram view. Before I
Yeah.
showed you that data view. It's going to go back to this data view.
Yeah.
My internet speed is good. I have just upgraded actually my internet a few weeks back.
Nice. 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 Fiber optic.
Yeah, fiber optic 5G.
Nice. It's very fast, huh? Compared to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
You can tell the
And this,
difference.
yes. And I got
STC
Betty
or mobile.
STC Betty stream package.
Nice.
It's 500 speed, and we are getting 500. They don't say it, we are getting it. Sometimes they say it, but we don't get it. But this
Yeah,
one we are
yeah.
actually we are getting this speed. I don't know why it is taking so long because my uh, my connection is fast enough to relay it quickly.
Took almost now more than 2 minutes.
Yeah. I want you to have to see this effect on this data model before we move on. But in this lesson so far, what we have done is we have learned how to connect information in different places
Yeah,
and bring it back through this separate queries and create a kind of a common connection platform so that we can
Mm.
use this data, which is sitting in different places, to uh, be able to uh, prepare a report or a dashboard, uh, pulling information from all these places. Now, this data is practically available for this file in which I'm going to create the data dashboard. Although this file has no data of its own. And there's another benefit. If I bring all that data in this file, my Excel file will be very heavy and it will be difficult to process and difficult to update and all that. But the when you create just connections, the file doesn't become heavy and bulky, and updating is easy, and creating the dynamic dashboard is very easy.
Yeah,
Still no change?
still the same. Mouse arrow on data view tab.
Well,
It's hanging.
frozen, it's hanging. What should
Do,
we do?
do you do you want to pray and come back to it? Leave it here?
Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's pray and come
Okay.
back to it. Good.
Okay, boss. 15
Uh,
minutes?
yes.
Okay, sure.
Sure. Welcome back, Ahmed. You can see the screen now, Ahmed. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm back.
Very good. And
Salma, go Shab.
I
Yes.
saw that you logged out and log in. Oh, you can see the screen now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So now what I was trying to show you is the final look of our data model and the items that we grayed out in our diagram view. You can see that in our data model, they are grayed out also.
Yes, sir.
So these tables now, what this actually means is that when we are going to create pivot tables, these columns will not be available for creating pivot tables from our sales data table. But if you want the buyer ID column, that buyer's info, we can pull it from buyer's info. And if
Yeah.
we want the order priority column, we can pull it from here. And similarly, shipping mode and the where is the product ID? This product ID. This also we can pull from this table. But this information we cannot connect to from the main sales table.
Yeah. This the what you call the unique data points.
Yes, this is the unique data points. Now we will go back to Excel, and this now we want to create our first pivot table. And the pivot table that I'm going to create, the first one, and let's look at our dashboard. I want to create these product trend lines. So I need a pivot table that will bring product categories, and sales, quarterly sales. Okay, so this is our requirement for the pivot table. Now let's create a pivot table now, and we want to I'm going to click away this queries and connection, and it's there, but we are not going to use it. Okay, so now if I go to home tab, and if I try to create a pivot table, insert a pivot table, and you see the pivot table is now coming, add to this data model. I'm not using this, but it is not showing me any data connection. Which table or range I'm going to use. if I'll go back to my Power Pivot, and I'm going to go to Manage. And here I think I should be able to create a pivot table. Here, pivot table. So from your data model, you will create a pivot table. I showed you in Excel, I cannot create a pivot table in Excel. It doesn't show me anything because there is no data in this file.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the data is in the data model, and the data model is something which is not physically existing, but it's they call actually X velocity engine. Excel has an X velocity engine, which is the processing mechanism working behind Excel. So this X velocity engine contains everything. So we have to approach this pivot table through that X velocity engine. When I click on the pivot table now, it will simply ask me where you want to place it, on the new sheet or on the existing sheet. I created this fun sheet, so I will use the existing sheet, and I will place my pivot table in this. Okay, L6. No, I don't want to place it in L6. I want to place the why location. Why L6? Cancel, and I will select this one, and then now I'm going to create a pivot again. Data model, pivot table, and existing sheet A3. Here is the starting of the pivot table. And the first pivot table, as I said, we want the product product categories. Okay, so let's bring in the product categories. And where is the product categories? Product categories is in the product ID table. Because if I go to the main sales data table, and do I find product ID here? There's no product ID.
No.
Because we hid that column.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go to product category, and this is my row headings, product categories. Okay, and I need the sales. So I'm going to bring in sales from, oh, I missed something actually. I should have created that. We have to go back to Power Query first. And my apologies. I actually in the in the process, I forgot to create something. So I cannot create this pivot table for the time being. We have to go back to our Power Query and data tab, and we go to Power Query, queries and connections. And I have actually hit that queries and connections. So I have to bring back those queries and connections. And I want to go to this sales data query. If I double click, we go back to this query. The item that I was missing actually, we do not have the total sales in this table, right?
Yes.
We do not have total sales in this table, although we can create total sales without creating this total sales column here. But I want to first do this through this process of creating a new column in this table. And the column I want to use for creating this new column is the order quantity, this column. Then I want to use the unit price, and I will hold down control and click on unit price. And I want to apply the discount also. So these are the three columns that I want to use to create my order quantity, the order value or the sales volume or the sales revenue for this particular order, each order. Okay, so quantity will be multiplied by price, to get the revenue for each transaction. So now I'm going to go to add column, and add column, I want to add a standard column, and the standard column I want to add by multiply. I want to multiply the values.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I do that, here is another column, which is multiplication. The title of the column is multiplication, but it has
Mm.
multiplied the values. All the values
Mm.
that
Yeah.
I have selected, all three values are multiplied. This is not the correct result
Of course.
because now the reason for this is uh, what it is doing, it is multiplying the order quantity. Order quantity is 9 and the unit price is 139 and the
And the discount.
discount is 8%. Now
Yeah.
if you roughly multiply 139 by 9, it should be close to 1500,
Yeah.
more than 1500. The value you see here is only 100.
Because
Why?
you multiplied by the discount.
By the discount. So now here in the formula bar, you see this is called the M query language.
Mm.
This is a new language which we don't need to learn, but
Mm.
if you start looking through this, it can tell you what this Power Query automatically generates this code. But
Yeah.
sometimes you need to make a little bit tweaking in this, and the
Okay.
tweaking at this point in time that I need is I want to
The discount.
multiply this with 1 minus the discount.
Mm.
Now if I do that, now my values will be corrected. When I hit enter, you will see the value is now 1152, and
Mm.
this is after discount.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
I can change the column heading. I don't need it
Yeah.
to be multiplication. I need this, the column heading should be sales revenue or sales value, whatever you want to call it. Sales revenue for this particular transaction. Okay, so having done that,
Mr. Sajjad,
yes,
can you give me just 30 seconds, please?
sure.
Yeah. Yes, I'm back. Sorry. Yes. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hello. No problem.
Yeah, I'm
So
sorry for
we
the delay. Yeah, go ahead.
no problem. Now we have created this sales revenue column. I have to now go back to home tab, and I will
Mm.
say close and load to again. Now this close and load to is not available to me. Now I just have to close and load, and this should update my query, and it should update my data model also, and we
Mm.
should have a new connection in our data model. And I will go to Power Pivot, and we will look through the data model. And in the data model, we have a new column, which is sales revenue,
Mm.
right? And now the sales
Mm.
revenue column has a significant 4 or 5 decimal values. This we don't need. So
Mm.
I want to convert the sales revenue into a currency, and I'm going to use this currency formulation here. So I will say, if I just call it, if I just click on currency, it will be English United States. So this is your dollar sales, and this is 2 decimal values only. Okay. We have now
Yeah.
unit price and discount percentage and shipping cost. And now we have the sales revenue also. So let's go back to our pivot table where we were creating the pivot table. And in this pivot table now, let's see what new we see. And in this now, we should have the uh, sales revenue also, right?
Mm.
We have the sales revenue. So let's put the sales revenue. And this is the sales revenue for categories. Each category, we have the sales revenue. And the advantage of creating your what you call in your data model, when you are formatting your numbers according to the required setup, like we created the currency, that this follows through into your pivot table also. We don't need to format the tables here. Now, for trend lines, like this dashboard is a trend line, what we need is we need a time uh, stamp also. When it is when what is happening. So I'm going to bring in the order date in my column headings. And now our pivot table is giving us the information for years for 2018 and 2020 and 2021. But we want to expand it to the quarters level. See, this is for quarterly sales. This trend line is for pivot quarterly sales. So in this category, I'm going to keep the years and quarters. I'm going to remove the months, just pull it out and throw it out of the pivot table values, and order date also. I'm removing the order date also. So here we see only the order date in years and order date in quarters. And now if I just expand the values, if I go to expand and collapse, and I want to expand them, here you see the quarters now. 2029, quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, 2020. We'll expand both for all of them and expand. And for the next year also, we will expand. And we have expanded all the quarters. Now we are going to create the trend lines for this. Now let's go to our dashboard. And in this dashboard, I will delete this spark line, and I will put the product trends, category, and quarterly sales. Okay. Product trends, category, quarterly sales. Now here we are going to bring in the categories. And if I bring in the categories from here, these are the categories that I want. Accessories. And I just copy it down. Four categories. These four categories are done. And then now I need to create the trend line and the spark line. Spark line, I go to the home tab, and if I go to insert, I want to insert a spark line, and here is the spark line that I want to connect. And the data is going to come from this sheet. Okay. So here is our first trend line. and I can just copy it down, and we will have all the four sales trend lines done. This is very quite weak and feeble. So let's make them a little more interesting. And if I change the color to this golden color, and the line thickness, I want to increase the line thickness.
Mm.
Work line color, and this is the weight I want to increase. Now they become visible, and you can change the color. Let's try another, the yellow one. Maybe that will be more visible on this background.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is more visible. Okay, and this is too thick, by the way. This looks like
Yeah.
gigantic line. So I'm going to reduce the thickness a little bit. And currently it is this. Let's make it this. This is better. Okay, so this is your first visual created. But the interesting thing and important thing that I wanted to highlight before we move on is that the information is
Yeah.
flowing through now from the product ID table and the sales information table. Both these tables
Yeah.
are giving us the information that we are looking for, and this information is sitting at this point in time in my computer in two different files, right? This sales
Yes.
data, the sales data is actually sitting in three different files in one folder.
Close the door. Yeah.
This sales data is sitting in three different files in one folder, and the lookup table, which is the product ID table, is sitting in another file. But this
Mm.
pivot table,
Mm.
has
Correct.
been able to access that data from all those four sources and create this pivot table, and we are reflecting this pivot table now in this visual
Mm.
here. Okay, so this is what
Yes.
we need to this is what we are trying to create, or this is what our final achievement is. I'm still not happy with the color of these spark lines. I want to try one different color maybe. This
Yes.
is even better. This is even better. Okay, so our first uh, trend is done. Now the
Yes.
second spark line that we want to create is going to be uh, top four buyers for our products. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this pivot table, and I advise always that pivot tables should not be used like this, because if you're for your practical example, uh, when you are creating a pivot table, always put a pivot table on a new sheet, because
Mm.
uh, your data is definitely going to expand. And when your data expands, your pivot table expands. And if you have more than one pivot tables on one sheet, then they will create problems for each other.
Mm.
But for this exercise, I know my data is not going to expand, but okay, let's not do that. Let's put it on a new sheet. I'm going
Mm.
to put it on a new sheet again. I will put on sheet 2, and I will use the same pivot table on this sheet. And this is, I just need to uh, format. We already have sales and quarterly sales. This is good enough. But for our row headers, here we are not looking for the categories. We are looking for buyers. Okay, because in this second visual we want to create top four buyers. Who are our top four buyers? So in this pivot table, let me name this sheet and pivot table also, because then we will forget and we will not be in a position to do that again. The first one is category
mm,
trend. Category trend is our first sheet, and the pivot table on this sheet, I will call this pivot table as, and I'll go to pivot table design. Oh, and sorry, analyze. On analyze, it says pivot table one. I will call it category trend underscore pivot. This I always put just to identify that this is a pivot table we are talking about. And I put a dash. I need to put a underscore actually. So
mm,
category trend pivot. And we need to use this pivot table names when we create slicers in the end. So it should be intuitively named. The second
mm,
pivot is top buyers. Okay. And this pivot should be again named as uh, top buyers
mm,
underscore
mm,
pivot. Okay. Now we need to amend the pivot table because this pivot table is giving us the categories and we don't need categories here. I will bring in the field uh, list back, and I'm going to remove from the row headers the categories, and instead I'm going to bring in the buyer IDs. Now these buyer IDs are going to come
mm,
from the buyers info table, and I'm going to bring in the
mm,
buyers table, buyer IDs. Here are our here are our all our buyers, and what we need to do is we need to sort them in descending order. So if I sort and more sort options, sort, and I want to sort in descending order
mm,
by what column? By sum of sales revenue. This is what I need to do. So I am, here is our top 4 buyers now. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I want to filter. I want to filter the top 4 and filter, and I want to filter. It says top 10. If I click on this top 10, actually I can identify, or I can select how many I want to filter. It can go more than 10. It can go less than 10. So I'm going to select 4 because in my dashboard, I have space only for 4. So here are top 4 buyers.
mm,
Okay. Now I am ready. Now my data is prepared. My pivot table is ready to feed into my second visual, which is top 4 buyers. So let's do that. Uh, top 4 buyers, and I call it, and uh, here I have buyer ID because in this data I don't have a buyer name. So I'm going to go with buyer ID and quarterly sales. And I'll just copy this quarterly sales from here rather than typing. And now we need to create a trend line. And the trend line that we are going to bring in is, first we are going to bring in the buyer ID is equal to, and this is our buyer ID. And I am copying this down. We have all the 4 buyers. And now we are going to create the uh, trend line, insert, and this is the second trend line that I'm going to insert here. Why it's not available? No, 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 don't do that. Insert column. And data for this column is going to come from here, starting from this grand total we don't need. So here are our top 4 buyers, and we only have one entry in the first. The others are very small. This is your top 4 buyers. Let's change the color also to red, and that's your top 4 buyers and their relative sales each quarter. And our 2 visuals are done. In first visual, we use the information from product categories table and sales data table. In the second visual, we use the information from buyers category table and sales data table, and we get all the information accordingly. But the magic is happening because we created the linkage with all those tables in their original position, and we don't have data, but we have told Excel. Actually, this is kind of when what you call programming the paths, that this data,
Yeah.
if you need, go there and bring this data for me, please. This is what we have done in this exercise. Okay, so this entire exercise is giving us now the results. Uh, do you see this kind of relating to your work?
See what?
Do you see the use of this methodology?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, that's the
Of
purpose.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
just the difference will be in the classifications, you know,
yes,
like
data
the title
classifications.
names, the points name. Yeah, yeah. But
Yes.
the same tool method, we can use it for
Yeah.
not
That's
because
the.
it's not gonna be typical HR dashboard. So you can use the same
Uh-huh.
technique you used today for us
Right.
to pull things together. And the good thing now, the data is still not huge. It's still, there is a lot
Yeah.
of gaps, a lot of missing data. But I
Mhm.
want to build the foundation and the basic table template that I can later start filling up and building
Very good.
up based on the foundation we built together.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Okay, so we have now 2 pivot tables, top trends and top buyers, and we have done the 2 visuals. The next visual that I want to create, we can create the sales manager. Let's do this category, sales by category, this chart first, and we can use this pivot table. We already have sales by category. We can use this pivot table. We just need to summarize in a different manner, and this pivot table will become our feeding point for this category chart. So let's bring in the this category, this pivot table, and I'm going to select it all, copy. The entire table is copied. I'm going to place it on a new sheet, and we can create a new pivot table also. So why be lazy? I'm going to delete it. Why be lazy? Delete. Let's create a new pivot table. Create a new sheet, and in this sheet we want to create a new pivot table. And what we are going to do again, we are going to go to Power Pivot, and we are going to go to our data model, and in this data model we are going to create a pivot table, and the pivot table we are going to place on the existing sheet, and instead of A1, I want to place it on A3. And this time I just changed the cell address in this column here rather than clicking on that. And it should start from A3 again. Okay. And this new pivot, I'm going to bring in the value fields, and value fields. Here are the value fields. I need categories again, and these categories are coming from the product ID table. Categories as my row headers, and what? Yeah, categories. And from my sales data, I'm going to bring in the sales revenue. So this is your data required for the this chart. You will notice that this data is the same data that we have on this pivot table, the first one. But in this pivot table, the difference in this one and the other one is that we put this order date as column headers.
Yeah.
This is now distributing. But if you look at the grand total, this grand total is the same values that we have in this new pivot table.
Yeah.
These are the same values. So for your practice, I'm creating a new pivot table. Otherwise, if I'm creating, I'll just keep copying a pivot table and changing the value fields inside. Okay, so it's the same pivot table, just a different. We just don't have the column headers in this case. Now, this if we create a chart, we will have kind of random lines, and I think the chart I have on my dashboard, sample dashboard, is same. Yeah, I have a long line and a short line, then a line, and then line. What I want to do in this particular case, I want to sort them in an order. So if I go to sort, and if I say sort from smallest to largest, oh, it became largest to smallest. I said sort smallest to largest. Yes, like this. Smallest to largest, I'm sorting because if I create a chart out of it, Excel reverses the order. If I do largest to smallest, in the chart, it will put smallest at the top. If I want the, yeah, that's what Excel does. That's the kind of typical behavior. Now, if I insert a chart and I want to insert a pivot chart, and this pivot chart, I want to insert this horizontal line pivot chart. And you see, my pivot table is sorted smallest value at the top, but my chart has the largest value at the top. Okay, so this is the typical behavior of our charts. And I want to see what I want to have the legend or no. Okay, category trends, top buyers, and now these numbers, they look very strange on this. Now they don't look very uh, very informative also. So you don't know what kind of number this is. What I'm going to do on these numbers, I'm going to change the format, and the format I'm going to use, I'm going to go to value field settings, and I go to number format, and on number format, I'm going to go to custom format. And I don't know if we did this before, but this custom format I like very much. I'm going to say
Yeah.
0.00, comma, m, sorry, backslash, comma, backslash m. And then I say OK, and OK one more time. Now this looks like millions. Okay. And on this chart
Correct.
also, you see the numbers are now, this is more readable and more understandable. Correct? Now,
Yes.
one thing I want to do, these, when you create a pivot table out of a chart, it gives you the option to interact at the chart level also. Now I want to hide these interactions, and I'm going to hide from the all field buttons on the chart. Those field buttons are gone. This total I don't need on this chart, so I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to cut this chart now and put it on my dashboard. And this is the place I have assigned for this chart. And we are going to format it now. Okay. Now we'll format this axis labels, and we will bring in Arial and make it 11 and bold. Same here, Arial 11 and bold. And now I need to make these lines thick. So if I go to format data series and reduce the gap width, that will give me a better chart. And I'm kind of tempted to do something which I haven't done in the previous one. I'm going to put a white border around these lines, and I will show you why I'm doing this. I'm going to go to border, and I go to solid line, and I want a white solid line, and I just want to see the impact of it when I make this chart. uh, Format and shape fill and no fill and no outline. You see the now that white border I created, that gives it a distinct look, and I can actually make it better if I go to shape fill again and border, and I'm just increasing the thickness of my border so that it
Mm.
becomes a bit more profound. Correct? Looks like
Yes.
that gives them a character and shape. Otherwise, this is better, right? Each bar
Correct.
is now more prominent than the dashboard I had, sample dashboard. I don't have those prominent bars, but giving them a slight white border makes them uh, come out a little better.
Mm.
And I want to expand this a little more. No, didn't work. I'm trying to make it a little more manageable. No, it's not. Okay, let's make this a bit smaller, maybe 11, maybe 10. It's 11 already. That may give it a better look. But I'm not spending too much time on that. We have done the main job. We have created the chart. All I need to do is now sales by category. I'm going to add this title and sales by category and hit enter. And I just need to make it bold and Arial. And our third visual is all done. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Maybe if we make it white, the title, will it look better? I'm just testing. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Okay.
No, it's as you like. But these are the possibilities. You can continue to explore and improve.
Mm.
Okay. Our three visuals are done. Let's do this one now. Sales by manager, and we are going to add the another pivot table. And this time I'm going to copy this pivot table and put it on an issue sheet. But before I do that, I will call it. I have one sheet name already, category trend, and this is category sales. Sales by category, and I should name this pivot table also. Go to pivot table analyze and sales underscore, no, not underscore, sales category underscore PVT sales category pivot. Okay. Now I'm going to copy this pivot, paste it on a new sheet. And let's modify this pivot now. For the next pivot, our data that we need is sales, yes, and it should be distributed in years and months. And we need the sales manager name on the no, we need the sales by years, and we need each separate line for each manager. That's
Yeah.
the kind of pivot table we are looking for. So let's put the information in this pivot table and bring back our value fields. I keep clicking it away because it just interferes with my uh, screen size, and it just takes extra space. So whenever I don't need it, I just click it away, and I stop using it. Okay, now in our this pivot table, as row labels, we don't want the name of the categories. So I'm going to throw it away, and instead of this uh, categories, I'm going to bring in the order date, and that order date is coming from sales table. So I will bring in order date, and while we are in this, you see when I use this order date here, Excel automatically is putting in these extra groupings, and these groupings are order date and order date. If I expand this a little bit, you can see better. It says order date months, order date quarter, order date year, and there will be an order date also in the end.
Mm.
Here in the you will see the order date also. So but in this particular uh, visual that we are creating, and when I do the dashboard, I told you I use the word visual rather than chart, because that's the terminology used by Power BI programmers. I like this word. We are creating a visual. In this visual, we don't need order date. I can throw it out from here, or I can uncheck from here. We don't need order date, and we
Mm.
don't need order years. We don't need quarters also. We need months. But
Mm.
interestingly, the months are not there. So I'm going to remove all the quarter, and I'll just leave the year. And in this
Mm.
year now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to expand this. And if I just say expand, now I'm getting order dates. I need months. Let's try it one more time. Let's remove it. Yeah, I need order date, a year. I need either date months. Yes, now it is months. I clicked on the months. Now quarters I have unchecked. And now we have the months. We'll expand all the years and expand entire field. So this is your expanded numbers now. Now we have the sales. Now all we need to do is we need to bring in the sales managers as our uh, uh, column headers, and then we will create this chart out of it. And sales by manager. Now I'm thinking where to put the manager category. Should I put it as column headers, or should I put it as uh, sum of sales. Let's try the column headers. Sales manager. This is the sales by each, by Anna, by Henry, and by Joseph. And we don't
Yeah.
need grand total. And we don't need grand total. So let's go to design and remove grand totals. We don't need any grand totals. And we don't need subtotals also. Subtotals are already, we don't have the annual totals. So our data is ready. Now we need to create the chart. So let's create a pivot chart out of it. Insert, pivot chart. And this time we are looking for a line chart. And
Yeah.
this is the chart we are getting. And here we go. We have our years and months, and we have the sales, and we have the names of our sales managers. Let's hide these buttons, and we will not do any formatting here. We will take it to our dashboard, and then we will do rest of the formatting on the dashboard. So cut and take it to the dashboard. I'm just looking at the position. Okay, it's filling the top of the. Okay, and I'm going to take it all the way to the top. Sometimes it's better to use the arrow keys to uh, properly align it to the space where you want to place it.
100%.
Yes, and it's now fitting the space snugly, and I will place these names. I will place it on the top, and it is the legend. I want to place the legend at the top, and not at the top here, but I want to let it move to this end. And while I'm working with it, so let's change the to Arial and 10 bold, and let's make them also Arial 10 and bold. And these values, let's make them Arial 10 and bold. And now finally, I want to give it this chart a title. So title, and this title is now messing up everything. But let's write the title, and then we'll do something about it. As sales by manager, what is the title? Sales by manager. A manager, and I am going to pull this to this end, and this should be Arial and bold. Okay, now this chart is white. What I normally do, I'm going to pull this up a little bit, and it's back to what it should look like. Now, if I remove the background, This is too small. I need to make it maybe 11. Okay. If I normally what I do, I make the format. This is what I do for all the shapes. If I go with the no fill, then you see this, the top banner is disturbing my chart. This is not what I should
Yeah.
be doing for this particular chart. So I'm going to go to shape fill and I'm going to select a color which is very close to my rest of the dashboard color.
Okay.
Okay. So I give it a fill which is closer to other charts in my dashboard.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Now I'm going to create. Let's look at the average shipping cost and average. There's another item that I missed in my database calculation. We will do
It's
that.
okay.
Yeah,
It's fine.
we'll do that. But I'm going to create this chart first. This
Okay.
chart by states. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Now this pivot. Before I move forward, I will say uh, sales dash manager, and this pivot should be named sales manager underscore pivot. All right. Now the next pivot I'm going to do, this is too complicated. So if I copy this one, this is a small pivot. So I'll copy this and paste it on a new sheet and
Okay.
modify this and modify this. But now what happened? I just brought in the row label, not the whole pivot. Okay. Now this pivot is back and we need the value fields. So we bring in value fields. The very first thing that I'm going to bring in is I'm going to remove the categories. Instead of categories, I'm going to bring in the states now. And the states, as we know, we don't have that in sales data, but we do have in the buyer information table, we have the states. So we can put the states as row labels. And here we have all the state names and the charts. Instead of names, I think it will be even better if I use the state code. So if I use the state code, that will take less space. These are all my state codes. Okay. Now these are the states. But from this point onwards, we have to play a trick with Excel. And that trick is a very interesting trick. And I don't understand why Microsoft does not solve this problem. If I try to create a chart, now chart, if you imagine, chart has to be it has to have a geographic link
Yeah.
with the actual map of the country, right?
Right.
So if I, from this pivot table, if I try to insert a chart, and the pivot chart I want to insert is a map chart. If I go for this, if I see combo chart and waterfall and radar, and here is the map chart. It says you cannot create this chart type with data inside a pivot table. I don't know why you are giving me this option then. You understand what I mean? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Excel, this option is available, but it doesn't work.
Why is that?
For pivot data, this this map chart doesn't work. There is a standard map chart. I can create a map chart out of it, but let's try to create a map chart. If I select this data and if I try to create a map, and if I say, give me a map, again, it gives me the same information. It says you cannot create a map chart out of data that is in a pivot table. All right. Now we are going to trick Excel, and tricking Excel is also not very difficult. I'm going to select and copy all this information. And I'm going to paste this information here as values. Okay. And now if I just copy this, the format, and paste it here, we have almost the same structure, right? We have the same information, but this information is not in a pivot table. Now, if I select this and create a map chart, Excel doesn't mind. Excel will create a map chart for me.
Nice.
Okay. But there's a problem with this map chart. This map chart now, if my data changes, my map chart will not update. Understand?
Yeah.
So this problem, there's a workaround now, and this again is a trick. This is the trick that we are going to play on Excel. And Excel, I don't know why Microsoft wants us to do it like this. They should allow us to make a map chart out of this data, but no problem. It's very easy. If I click on this chart, reverse click, and if I go to select data, or if I just let me this, if I just do this, and the, this data is this data now. If I go to select data and change, here it says data is in the column E3 to to F E3 to F46. If I change from E3 to A3, don't do that. Cancel. Select data again, and I'm going to go to this E3. I'm going to delete E, and instead of E, I've typed A, and instead of F, I want to type B. That's it, nothing else. And now you see this map chart is now working with pivot table. It is picking the data from pivot table. But in the first place, it does not allow us to create a chart out of pivot table. And now I created a chart from the replica data, and I reoriented the chart towards pivot table. Now it accepts, no problem. And now, because it is pivot linked with pivot table, if I change my data, this chart will update automatically because it is now linked to the pivot table. Now this data is redundant. I don't need it. I can delete this data, but I will leave it here because I'm sending this file to you, and you will remember the steps that we performed in this process to create this chart. Now I'm going to take it to my dashboard, and we'll do the rest of the formatting there. Cut and dashboard. I have created some charts with the Saudi data, and it works. It works very, very well, and it has can be connected with the Saudi map also.
Map.
Yes, if you have regional data like sales data for different regions, and we can create this chart out of Excel for the Saudi regions also.
For me, it's mainly construction and central region.
Yeah, so you
So
don't need.
no, not region sales in this industry, but construction for the new city within central region.
Overall, yeah.
So even when we work on the data, it's all uh, related to the construction industry, if you know what I mean. The title,
Yeah,
job
yeah,
titles. Yeah.
yes. I'm just trying to fit it in the space. And if I place this legend at the top, and I don't need this sum of sales, and I will go to my pivot table, and I will change this sum of sales to sales only, sales revenue. My chart should also update. Yeah, it says revenue, and I want to place it at the top. So if I pull the legend to the top, that goes here, and the chart title. Oh, don't. Why? I don't want to. What was my shape of this? Yeah, it's at the top. I don't need title for this because the chart itself is saying it is sales by
Yeah.
state. You can
Yeah.
see by the chart title, so no need to write the title. Shape also is telling that it's sales by shape, sales by state. So I'll leave it here, and I will just remove the background and outline. So no fill
Mm.
and no outline.
Yeah.
This chart is also done. But the interesting part, there are two interesting parts in this. One is the ability to filter through information which is not in your main fact table from an
Mm.
other table. And the second one is that although Excel does not allow you to create a chart out of pivot table, but if you make a replica of the pivot table, create a chart and reorient towards pivot table, then it has no problem. Okay. Now
Yeah.
again the second thing that I missed in the initial steps, I want to bring in the queries back. And what is the second file open? This is our data model, not the second file. Okay. I want to bring in the queries connection back. Because one of the charts that we have, this chart is average days to ship. We should have a calculation for average days to ship. Okay, so that's what I want to go back to my queries and connections, and I want to bring in the average days to ship. Okay, so I go back to my Power Query. Where is my last? This is my last sheet. I have to name this as sales by it, and I should name this pivot also. And I will go to pivot table analyze and sales by state underscore PVT. This is done. Sales by state. Okay, now I am going to bring in the on the data tab, queries and connections. And I want to go back to my sales data query. And this also, although I did it by mistake, I should have completed this in the first place. But this tells you that while you are working on your data, and if you think of something new, you can go back to your Power Query and readjust your queries so that it provides you the required information.
Interesting.
Okay, so once you have done it, it's not that you cannot go back and you cannot modify or amend something. You can do these processes also. Okay, so now I'm
Yeah.
back in my main sales query, and what we need to do actually is we need to have a difference of two dates. One is the order, uh, shipping date, and if from the shipping date, if we deduct the order date, that will tell you how many days it took for this order to be shipped. Correct?
Mm.
So we are going to go to Add Column tab, and in this Add Column tab, we are going to select two columns first. One is the shipping date. Select shipping date column, and we go back to the order date, which is in the beginning. Here is the order date. Now I have to hold down Control and select this. With these two columns selected, I'm in the Add Column tab, and I can go to Standard, Add Column. What happened? It's not allowing. Ah, let me select one more time. Ah, you know what? I'm clicking on the Standard. Now the Standard, because my data is dates, I cannot use this Standard button. I have to click on this Dates button. So I am clicking on the dates, and I want to get the difference.
Mm.
Should be subtract days. This, if I click on subtract days, this column is now giving me the number of days it took to ship each order.
Mm.
Okay, so I will call this column as days to ship.
Yes.
Okay, I have dates days to ship. Go back to my home tab, and in my close and load, I will close and load again, and this should update my query one more time. So twice during this process, I have updated my queries. Once I updated to create the sales column, total sales revenue column, and the second time I did to create this days to ship column. Okay. While you are working with your charts and dashboards, if you need to update your data, you can do that.
Mm.
Okay, I'm looking at now. What is the next one? I'm keeping these two the uh, most interesting charts for the end. I'm going to create this one:
Okay.
average shipping cost and average days to ship. And in average shipping cost, we have the uh, shipping mode and the shipping container. So let's bring in this information and create a new pivot. And we are going to instead of I'm going to copy this pivot again, put it on a new sheet. And this is our, we want this, what is the chart I'm again looking for? Average shipping cost. Okay. So this pivot is average shipping cost. Ship cost. And let's name it also. Shipping cost. That's enough. Underscore PVT. And now we'll bring back the value fields and I'm going to modify this. I need shipping information in shipping mode. I need shipping mode. That's one item. Delivery track, express air and regular air. Now I go back to my sales data and I have shipping container also. This shipping container, I'll put it under this. What? No, should go in the rows. I was putting it in the values. Okay, now this is your, these are the different categories and uh, values under it, but we don't need sales revenue here. We need the shipping costs, average shipping cost. I'm kind of average shipping cost. Yes. So we need shipping cost here and instead of the sales. So, okay, shipping cost. Shipping cost will come from our normal sales table and ship cost, shipping. This is days to ship, sales revenue. Here is the shipping cost. So let's put it, and you have your numbers. But by default,
Perfect.
Excel is giving you a sum. Now in this one, we need average shipping cost. So we can
Mm,
change this. Click on this, go to value field setting, and in value field setting, select average instead of sum.
mm.
And while we are here, we can change the title also from average of shipping cost to just shipping cost. And now we should have the average shipping cost. That gives you average shipping cost. Okay. Now I will close it and we will go to, I'm looking at the chart again and again. I want to see what kind of chart we have. Yeah, we should sort these by largest to smallest so that we get this kind of shape of chart. In each category, the largest value is at the bottom. For this particular chart, we put the largest category at the top. For this chart, we are putting the largest category at the bottom. So let's go back to our pivot and format it. And we have the ship cost. And I'm going to, within each category, I'm going to sort it by largest to smallest. Sort by largest to smallest. And we have now all sorted largest to smallest. And when we put it on a chart, the chart will look like smallest to largest. So let's bring in the chart, insert, pivot chart, and we want this horizontal chart. So this is your horizontal chart, and we need to hide these buttons, and that's it. These values again, they look very strange. So let's do something about these values first. No, they're good enough. They're not bad. They look nice. Okay, we'll do something about this. But let's put this chart back on the pivot table, sorry, dashboard. and we'll see what next we can do about it. So I'll cut this chart, take it to my dashboard. You see, while I'm creating this, I'm thinking what is the best way to present it on the chart also, on the dashboard. And these values, I'm not liking the way they are looking. So I'm going to delete them actually. But before I do that, let's do the placement complete. Okay, I'm going to remove this total so that we have a little more space. And I think from the pivot table, if I just remove the currency and I just make it go to value field settings, and I just make it a number and 1 decimal. That should reduce the size quite a bit, and that should improve the look of my chart. It does, correct?
Mm.
You see, it is now not that cluttered. And I just need to make it Arial and pen and bold. Very good. And now let's make these things as bold and Arial. And remove the grid lines if you like. You can keep them if you want to. And I'm going to reduce the gap width so that these bars become a little thick. Very good. Our bars are now thick enough. And let's add the chart title, average cost. Okay. And Arial 14 and bold. And we need to fill in the last step instead of no fill and no outline. I'm going to say format, and my shape fill is going to be this. Now it's too dark. It has to be close to my dashboard theme. Yes, this is your shipping uh, average shipping cost chart. The last chart we are going to create is uh, let's look at our sample. This is going to be average days to ship. Okay. And I will copy one of the pivot tables while I'm selecting map chart. Okay, this is your delivery truck, and I'm going to copy the same, but I have named it. Let's copy, paste it on a new sheet. And on this new sheet, what I'm going to, oh, again, it's only the row label. Bring back the value fields. And now I need to see what we have in this chart. we have, yeah, we have order priority and shipping container. Okay, so let's see what we are going to change here. Okay, this is average days to ship. So the sheet name I will use days to ship. And the name of the pivot also, we will change it to ship days underscore pivot. Okay, now in the value fields, instead of the shipping mode, I'm going to remove shipping mode, and we have shipping container. I think this is the first thing that we need in our. No, it's priority and shipping container. Now shipping mode. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, if I will remove the shipping container and I will leave shipping mode. And no, it's not shipping mode. Let's bring in the order priority, and order priority, I will place it here. And I have critical, high, low, medium. Yes. And finally, I have to put shipping container, this jumbo box, shipping container, and not shipping cost, but days to ship. And this days to ship again will be sum of it. So I have to change the value field settings, and I need to make it average, and I will remove the average off, and I will keep days to ship. And this is your numbers. Now these numbers are very strange looking numbers, and so many decimals. So let's go to value field settings and change this to number, and I'll go with 1 decimal.
Yeah.
Okay, this looks pretty good now. Now we need to create a chart out of it. So insert a pivot chart, and the pivot chart I'm going to use is uh, this pivot chart, horizontal lines. Okay, so this is your pivot chart, and this is what we are looking for. No, this is express. This is different. We brought in a different value, but that gives me another chance. I have this sheet extra, so I'm going to delete it. While that gives me a chance to explain something. You know, these pivot tables, what actually this database behind this is doing, we call it uh, row context. What
Raw
is the
content.
row context?
Yeah.
This is the what this data is being filtered in context of the row labels.
Mm.
Understand? Now,
Yeah.
what we are looking for is the within the specified critical priority, what is the how many days it took to ship by a jumbo box.
Mm.
Okay, that is what this data is being filtered by.
Mm.
We call this as row context. If I change the row context for this pivot table, and I have to bring back the value fields, uh, I don't need the container. I need shipping mode, and shipping mode is in which table? It is in the same table. Shipping. Where is the shipping mode? No, shipping mode is in order priority. Yeah, this shipping mode table, this separate table, and I will go to shipping mode, and I will place it under order priority. And now the context has changed. You see the numbers have changed. When I change the context, the numbers automatically change because it is being filtered in context of the row labels.
Mm.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
You get the idea? Okay.
Yes.
Now I'm going to remove the field buttons, all field buttons, hide all field buttons. You can do one by one also, but there's no fun in that. Let's remove this total word. It is not adding any value. Now let's take this chart to our dashboard, cut and place it on the dashboard and fit it within the allotted space. Oh, what happened? What happened? My cut is lost. Where did this chart go? I think I pressed the wrong button and the chart is gone. Let's create the chart again. Let's create the chart again. Insert and this horizontal lines and okay. All we need to do is hide the buttons and remove this totals and cut Control X and go to dashboard. Here it comes. Okay. And just formatting is what we are left with. Arial, bold. These numbers are also Arial and bold. And chart title. And it should be is to ship, average days to ship. Average days to ship and make it Arial and bold. Okay, the last thing to do is again change the background and outline. But before that, let me, and interestingly, when the, you see this chart is really reflecting what we are uh, trying to show here. When the priority is low, it takes longer to ship,
Mm.
right? When the
Yeah.
priority, even when the priority is not specified, still it is taking shorter. But when it says low priority, then it is taking longer to ship. All other categories are going almost within the same range, within a day or two.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it is taking up to 4 days if the priority is low.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's format, shape fill, no fill, no outline. What? Oh no, I had actually selected the shapes And before I do that, I wanted to make them make this gap bit smaller to make them prominent. And now I should select the chart. And now I should remove the fill and outline. And that's what I am going to do. My charts are done. Now we are left with the two charts. Now I wanted to leave it at the end. And again, I want your opinion about it. You want to do it today or no? Because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
we are going to introduce a new concept in Excel, and that concept is DAX. It's
DAX.
DAX, DAX. This is an
Mm,
abbreviation of data expressions. It's
yeah.
another formula language, and this formula language helps you to generate information which is not available in your data.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so that's what we are going to generate, data expressions language. So we are going to write some measures, and these and uh, actually when you write a formula in DAX, that formula is called a measure in this DAX language. It's not called a
Mm,
formula or a query structure or what. It is called
amazing.
uh, a measure. And
Nice.
there are certain measures that we are going to write, and
Yes.
those measures are going to reflect and going to create the data
New
that
information.
then we are going to plot on this. You want me to
Perfect.
continue?
No, we can do it next week.
Okay. So we will create those DAX measures, and we will complete this dashboard. And maybe during the week, if you like, you can send me the sample of your information, and we might
Yeah.
discuss the how to process that also in your next week.
Okay. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do it.
A-
Thank you
Any
so much.
questions? Any
No,
questions or
no, we're good.
comments for today?
No, no,
We
perfect.
have
We're good.
we have covered good ground. We have created a lot of
Yes.
area, and we have learned and we have if not fully learned, we have explored the avenues for connecting various kinds of information in various places and to use them for our dashboards.
Yeah, it was complicated today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much
So
for your effort.
you're welcome. And next week we will create the DAX measures, and we will take a look at your data and see how we can process that also.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you so
Best of luck
much.
for
Have a
the
good
week.
evening.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you. Same to you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.